Hello and welcome from wherever you are to where we are virtually. Season 6 of the FRS PC Division 1 comes to Imola for the penultimate round of our Premier PC Championship. This is the second time the FRS has made a visit to Imola in our 6-season history. Joining me today is no one, actually. I'm Ivory and I'm flying solo today. Imola circuit, just over 3 miles, 19 corners, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. It is a counterclockwise circuit, or anti-clockwise for those of you who don't say that sort of thing. 605 meters is the longest run to turn 1 this season, 25 meters longer than the previous one at Spain. Action zones will include turns 1 and 2 at the Tamburello chicane. So we get a nice pan shot at Tamburello here, as well as Ravazza, which is at the end of the circuit. This is a very challenging circuit to overtake on, only one DRS zone, so straight line speed not quite as much of a concern here today. So the soft tire obviously is the fastest, the mediums will go about 0.6 of a second slower, the hards will go 1.1 seconds slower. 11 laps for the softs, 22 for the mediums, 28 for the hards. So the hards can do almost an entire race distance. Will safety cars play a factor today? Safety cars certainly played a factor in the previous race I co-hosted with Dan. We had 5 of them, which is the maximum you can have in a single session. And the guys are now getting out on track for the qualifying sessions, so we are going to kick the game audio on and switch it over. Getting a little wheel spin out of there. Thank you, Tez and Coral. It is the Ivory Show today. Just speaking. We're going to turn off the telemetry connection in a second. And so we set the stage for you here today. Frazier leads Silver Arrow by 46 points with 2 races to go here in the Drivers' Championship, which means that Silver Arrow finds themselves in a must-win situation of 46 points, meaning if Silver Arrow is 27 or more points behind going into the final round, that will mean Frazier will be crowned as a 2-time PC Division 1 champion. He will be potentially the first person to do so. Silver Arrow obviously hoping to spoil that party here and push it to the final race of the season. I believe that's next weekend, and I forget where that is because I haven't looked at the calendar in a second, so chat, please feel free to correct me. Following along, we have some of the runners now out on outlaps. They're following along with him. Rathos with a yellow flag in Sector 1 at Tamburello. That's the Alpha Tauri of Hughestown, I believe. No, that's Dieso, I'm sorry. Dieso getting out of the way of the hot lap runners here. As Elliott posted the first time and therefore the purple time, 1:18 flat. Thank you, Tez. Brazil in the finale next week. Let's see who is coming around. I believe MML is coming around now. As invalidated this lap, so I believe we'll be going out again. Silver Arrow also coming around now on an outlap, so we'll come back to that in a second. Backtrack, however, is on a hot lap, and let's see what time the Alfa Romeo driver is. A 1:16.2, that's a very nice time. I fully expect to see times in the 15s here, possibly even the 14s for the top end of this field, as Luke puts up a 1:15.4, right on cue. We're going to see a bunch of cars coming through here. Sorry, I picked the wrong Mercedes there, gang. As we have a McLaren that maybe stopped just after Ravazza. Hang on. That is Cruzo, I believe, was letting Frazier lie. As Frazier puts up a 1:15.5, so not quite the fastest time in the session yet for Frazier. Charlie Chip is still in the pits at the moment, as well as Elliott who's coming back in. Now we have most of the rest of the grid out on the hot lap right now. We are going to kick it back to MML Regret, who I believe has not invalidated this lap, so he's going to come back in. No, he's going into the pits. I believe maybe he run out of fuel there. So Silver Arrow now putting up a 1:15.6, putting him just shy of 2/10 behind Frazier. So I expect these two to duke out at the front of the field. And Coral, it's early. It's early. Yeah, you're gonna get some 1:16s here early, but I think we'll see 1:15 consistently from the top runners. I'm not trying to kill anyone on commentary. I'm not Stark murdering Dan on air last season. Now let's see what you, Sam, doing his first lap is a 1:16.6. Okay. So most of the rest of the field running in laps out. Chips on the out lap as we have a yellow flag in front. It's a Mercedes. Not sure what's happening there. Okay. And we got traffic behind. Chips is like. Imola does lend itself occasionally to traffic jams, which we are seeing here. Let's see. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2 and Sector 3. That looks like is that Aaron? Going very slowly, coming into the pits now. And Aaron has left the session. Possibly having some network problems. It's letting traffic over down. With a very, very colorful helmet. It's Dizo also, I believe, on a hot lap, so we'll follow along with Dizo, and now Dizo's coming into pits. I do wish it told you when they were coming in on hit laps, so I wouldn't keep highlighting people who are not actually trying very hard to race. As Booth causing a bunch of yellow flags going slowly. As his prerogative on a hit lap. The Haas Dog behind. Dog, who is back, I believe, after a no. That is the other Haas. Well, actually, I'm sorry. That's what there's. And now, Charlie Chibbles will be hosting his presumably first time lap of the session, so we're following along with Chips here. Hard with brakes into Variante Alta. Tricky traction zone here. And Aaron is back in the session. I believe it's a third gear corner, possibly a fourth, no, fifth gear for Chips going into Ravanza here. And flat out to the end of the straight as Charlie Tibbles puts up a 1:16 flat. That's a very nice time. Follow along with the only person yet to set a time lap, ML Regret. In a similar spot, flying down the hill toward Ravatsa. Not invalidating the lap. Very easy to do if you come down with too much speed into those two curbs. What do we have from the Haas Reserve driver from Division 2? A 1:16.2. It's good enough for P7. Outdoing his teammate. And a very respectable time. Below 1:16. As we have another yellow flag somewhere. Looks like traffic lapping against an act track. Going around Dog there as Dog comes to the pits. Act track looking to improve on that P8 from the initial runs. Really keen to avoid this traffic as that is a Williams Aaron getting out of the way and keenly. MML is in fact Mr. Saturday. Impressive qualifying pace. As unfortunately I was the victim of once upon a time and some other people found out. And I want to follow along with Backtrack's onboard here as he goes through the Aqua Minerale section, which I hate because I'm not a fan of this circuit. And pretty much every controller play feels pretty much the same way as Backtrack running a little wide through there, not invalidating the lap, but losing some time. Hard on the brakes again, hopping the curbs to Variante Alta and invalidating the lap. That is unfortunate. The game is a little inconsistent with that corner, but you do need to be careful. If you take too much of the curb, it will invalidate your lap. In the race setting, it will invalidate, it will give you a time penalty and to make you slower. As Naktak comes back into the pits. That is Dieso, not Adam. Dieso looking to post a potential improvement. Let's find out. Luke with a 1:15.3, by the way. It's a very impressive time. Dieso did not improve, I believe, on that lap unless he was on a warm-up lap. So Luke setting the pace here early with a 1:15.3. The question is, will Frazier or Silver Arrow, or possibly Aaron, who's gained quite a lot of pace in the last few races, will they be able to top that? Oh, as Dieso has a spin, it is now directionally challenged on the track. Hopefully not causing any traffic impediments for the Red Bull and the Mercedes. That is Silver Arrow right behind. The dog seems to have, Dieso rather, seems to have corrected that in short. And I think Dieso's going to want to get out of the way here. As Silver Arrow comes steaming through Aquaman Rally. And yes, Dieso getting out of the way. Purple Sector 2 for Silver Arrow. Can they keep it tidy? Riding the curb, but not too much curb. Variante Alta, slinging it down the hill, tidy on the brakes. 5th gear consistently for these guys in qualifying. That's a little surprising, actually. Riding the right-hand side line all the way through to the finish line. Silver Arrow with a 1:15.3, an improvement over Frazier, but not P1, not quite. 500th of a second, the difference between Luke and Silver Arrow P1. Now we're going to check in with the rest of the field as several people actually are not coming. Let's check in on the championship leader, Frazier. As Frazier crosses the line, let's see if this is an improvement. It is 15.5, still not quite enough. And from the front runners in this division, this is a little bit more like my expectations. I believe Dog is going very slowly for sector 3 in preparation of a hot lap. That is one of the Aston Martins. No, that's not Chibbles, that is Elliott actually. Was doing a bit of gravel trap work here. And Elliott's got a whole bunch of cars behind, so they're going to get out of the way. And just taking the lawn care service route here. Letting the wheel banging into the wall here as well, as they try to just make sure they're not interfering with anyone's hot lap. Crusoe has invalidated his lap, so we will tune back in. It's Husam and Roof. Husam's actually on an out lap, so Roof actually needs to clear Husam. Husam not really, not getting out of the way at all, actually. Husam not, that's a little naughty, actually. Make sure that you're not taking up the racing line when you've got a guy behind you that's on a hot lap. That might cost Booth some time, and Booth comes into the pits. Clearly not an improvement, so saying no need. There's going to be a little frustration in the Discord chat after about that, I think. Okay, so Dieso setting up what I assume either is a warm-up lap. Only 2 cars on track right now, Dog and Dieso. Dog appears to be on a hot lap, so we'll follow along with Dog. Dieso, I believe, is warming up his tires. Yellow flags accompanying him wherever he goes at the moment. Due to the speed, Backtrack has left the session. Regrettable. And I do wish the texture pop was a little less aggressive there. That is a really dramatic camera angle as Dieso pulls into the pits, as does Dog. Okay, so everybody getting ready for one final run. Luke has now come out of the pits. follow along with Luke, the only car currently on track right now. Although I expect, given the timing, a whole bunch of the other runners will be joining him shortly. Yes, Coral, you do see Chibbles, in fact, in the 16s, although it's a 16 flat, so it's about as good as you can do in the 16s. Knack Track rejoining the session just in time to get out for a moment. Let's see what Luke has in store for us. 15.343, the current pole time here. Can any of the front runners improve? Frazier, Aaron, ML, Rufrath, Booth, Hugh-Sam, Cruzo, and Elliott all out right now. I expect the rest of the runners to be coming shortly. I don't know why actually it just removed Luke's outlap notification before we crossed the line. It's a little bit of an interesting work, so we're just going to follow on board here. In 8th gear, pounding away, getting lots of noise, and actually Luke might have gone out too early. He's running into traffic now. This is not good for the provisional pole sitter. Lots of people just coming out of the pits. It looks like an AlphaTauri, an Aston Martin, and a Mercedes in more or less immediate range. And I think Luke is actually just gonna call it here, so we're gonna follow along with Frazier. Luke might have the time to get another lap in. We're going to see in a minute. And now we're going to follow along with the onboard of the championship leader, Frazier, who has some, but not a ton of traffic in front, and I believe everyone on an outlap, other than Knack Track right now. Or on a hot lap, rather, other than Knack Track right now. Very tricky to keep traction through Camparello. Handled nicely there by Frazier. You know what, guys? I really think this track needs more chicanes. And I can't make credit for that joke, because Frazier finished Sector 1. I will give credit to John Lemon in the Div 4 chat for saying that first, but this track really does need more chicanes. I really feel like, you know, there's lots of time for them to go straight and not turn very hard, as we are now getting the checker flag out and the countdown will ensue here. A little squirrely exit through Aquaman Rally from Frazier, handled nicely. Booth can do another lap, says Renovation in the chat. Okay. Not cutting too much of the curves through Variante Alta. Screaming downhill once again into Ravazza. 4th gear for Frazier this time. Can he improve it at P1? Yes! 115.1 for Frazier. And now we're going to go to Silver Arrow, who is going to try and thwart that effort. Not very far behind. Silver Arrow has invalidated the lap. Regrettable. And Booth, I believe, is either in traffic or causing some mayhem. He'll spin. Booth getting tangled up with one of the AlphaTauris, I believe. And is just doing donuts now. Oh dear. Okay, well, we're gonna... And Knack Track puts up a 115.8 to go P9, and Sam, also doing some donuts, is not getting another lap in here. So I think it was Sam and Booth getting tangled up with each other again. And Booth is just having the time right now. These two guys are really gonna run the clock out on the remaining 90 seconds of the session, apparently. But here you have our order. Frazier, P1, 115.1, a very impressive lap. Luke, Silver Arrow, Dieso, Boo, Ren, Charlie Chibbles, MML Riffraff, Knack Track, and Dog round out your top 10 with Elliott, Sam, and Cruzo, the 3 lone runners remaining in the 16s, rounding out the 11th through 13 places on the grid. As Booth has retired from the session. not a moment too soon. Regrettably, the game will not show the... Okay, that's quite strange. Iran getting a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. I have not seen that before. And I don't know how or when that would have been possible, because I believe Iran would have been on a cooldown lap coming in. So, a little bit of intrigue here, actually, at the very end of the session. Iran qualifying in 6th place. It's going to start in 11th, actually. Fascinating. I have a sneaking suspicion, because if it's illegal blocking, it takes 2 to tango, and somebody might be looking at something in the steward's room after this. Anyway. So your grid order is more or less what I said it was earlier, which is we'll have Iran starting a little bit lower for reasons that may or may not be their fault. Yep, I'm not sure what happened there. And now we go to my favorite part of the stream, loading screens. Please hold while we set up the broadcast formation lap, gang. Now we have a great view of the questionably three-dimensional people on top of the paddock club area. And the also questionably animated window reflections. As Frazier has now left the session, that's not good. Migrating host. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, stay tuned, gang. Migrating host. Oh dear. Sam has now left the session. Guys, we might get a red flag here. And, oh dear. Yeah, I think we are. Okay. Okay. Well, stay tuned, gang. We're going to reformat the grid and come back. Somebody took a screenshot of the qualifying session. I did not. But, yeah, we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned, gang. Sorry about this. And we're back. Sorry about that. If the host disconnects at any point, usually it bugs the lobby. So, yeah. And Fraser did disconnect, so sorry about that. And we may or may not have had to reformat anyway because of the grid penalty, because an AI car blocked another AI car with no input from the player. So that was quite fun. And now we get to pick up where we left off, gang, and look at the questionably pixely animated window reflections here. But that's not why you come to F1 2022. The cars look much nicer than that window animation. I do wish that it did not stare at it for quite so long, but that's okay. Because presumably we'll be getting a broadcast formation lap underway here in just a moment. Waiting for players. We're still waiting for players. Presumably it's not me. There we go. I probably could have held it on the load screen for longer. Didn't realize we'd have a 30-second load screen to a countdown to another 30-second load screen. Like we said last time with Dan, it's like going to Disney World. You can wait in line, so you can wait in line again. I love it. Okay, there we go.
The formation lap gets underway, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. As all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring their planned strategies are all in place.
Thank you, Alex. In medium hard or hard medium, the probable stops here. How many die in turn one, says Coral? More than none, less than 4. We'll see. And now I have to get all the stuff up again. The lights are out, and we are racing virtually here in Imola. And Silver Arrow getting a great start is by Luke already. Elliot also getting a tremendous start at 2 places here before even the rundown to turn 1. And so now we're going to see a bunch of little wheel banging, nothing serious. Actually, that was quite clean. MML Rip Breath the Dog, the two Haas drivers losing out big here early, both down 3 positions. Neither in the points at the moment. A big gap now starting to form between Luke and Diesel. Boom is going to have to hope to clear them in a second. I'm going to put on the tire detail here. Frazier, Silver Arrow, Diesel, Aren, and MML Riprat on the mediums. Everyone else taking what I believe is the esports strategy and starting on the hard tires. This may be yellow flag, and that his dog is around, I believe. Yep, dog is in the gravel pit. That happened rally. That is highly unfortunate. Still more yellow flags, and that is Ren is around as well, actually, coming out of Variante Alta. We're going to continue following along in the front of the field here as Frazier leads Silver Arrow by just over 0.5 of a second. Luke about 1 second behind. Frazier obviously completing a lap first is the fastest lap of the race by default. Lots of work to do for the back 2 runners of the grid. Ren 9 seconds behind the pack. No safety car on lap 1, so that's progress. After the 5 safety car slog that we endured last race that had a terrific 6 lap start race at the end. Hopefully we get something a little bit more green flag conditions this time around. Trying to follow along here with Silver Arrows onboard cam through Aqua Rally. See Frazier's line taking quite a lot of the outside curve. Most of the peak is hiding through here. Trying to stay within DRS range until lap 3, which is only 1 DRS zone, as we mentioned. It seems the Div 1 drivers have taken our pleas from last week to heart, and Coral, I have to agree with you. I am amazed as well at the cleanliness of the first couple of laps here. I'm sure there was some contact toward the back of the grid, but no one's in the wall, and no one's front wing has exploded. So I will take that. Frazier and Silver Arrow really putting the distance on Luke now. 1.4 seconds already, and Booth, and I think that's the tire difference coming into play. The medium runners are very quick here early. It's actually going to follow along with Dieso. Dieso is really sort of knocking on the door of Luke here. The DRS will be enabled this lap, so we're going to see who's running a lower wing to compensate, perhaps for starting on cars early. We'll see once the DRS fade opens up, really how people are playing the strategy. Are they running lower wings than the other guys to try to get a better overtaking opportunity or defend more easily? And that is a random again. Facing the wrong direction. That is unfortunate. And yeah, very much closing between Frazier and Silver Arrow here. We're still sort of doing a little accordion bit here. 6/10 now. We're going to follow along here with the two championship contenders as they come out of Rabasa and onto the main straight. DRS will be enabled this time around. So DRS open for Silver Arrow now. Closing in slowly but surely. Frazier is running quite a lot of wing by the look of it. Silver Arrow is not making a ton of inroads. So that looks to be the strategy for the championship leader Frazier. Get on pole, run less wing, and be very quick in a straight line. So we have an Aston Martin, I believe that is Shibbles around. Hang on. Yep. Oh dear. I believe they have, yeah, all the front wing bits are attached. Elsewhere on the grid, we've got these battles between Luke and Dieso still going. Dieso giving Luke a little bit more space through the upgraded rally. Gap closing again. The opening is, oh, Dieso goes quite wide there. The exit of Variante Alta brings Booth back into play, actually. We can move back into the DRS zone of Dieso. We're going to switch back to the championship leaders again, so they're going to go at it one more time. 2.7 seconds back to third place, so it really is, at the moment, a two-horse race. Nothing doing. Silver Arrow is closing the gap and is not able to get as good of an exit out of Variante Alta, and that's where we're seeing the straight line advantage of Frazier come in play here. So I think they're going to have to do something different on strategy or hope for safety car luck, as that is a purple sector 1 by Silver Arrow using DRS. Has dropped Dieso, by the way, just over a second now. Melbourne Pratt, by the way, knocking on the door as well. We're going to go down the grid a little bit here and knock on the door of Elios. We have another yellow flag. That is Aren having a really wretched afternoon, unfortunately. I will stop wishing him good luck in the Mercedes team chat after this, I think. This is going to be interesting. It looks like MML really close coming through. Oh, a little contact there. ML outbraking himself, and we got that on the stream, unfortunately. Now losing 2 positions to Cruzo and Shibbles. You really just need to keep it a little tidier than that. You have to brake a little earlier with the car in front of you, and did not do that, unfortunately. We'll have DRS, so we're going to continue following along here. As Frazier and Silver Arrow are staying exactly where they are. No fastest lap for Silver Arrow, by the way. And DRS, not very powerful here at all, quite frankly. I don't think MML got a very good exit out of that time. Dieso has, so Booth has actually, while I was saying that, Booth has actually overtaken Dieso and has a purple sector 1. Booth, the Mercedes second driver, really trying to make an effort to get up the field here. Well well done, and I'm sorry we didn't catch that. Purple sector 1 there, so we'll see. Can move, continue to charge up to Luke. As I will, what was that? That is, oh dear. That is Diesel. What happened? So Diesel went off there. And might be missing some body work, actually, as well. I'm surprised that wasn't a virtual safety car, actually. The front wing seems to be intact. I think it was just a little bit of lawn care there for Diesel. As the front two are going at it again. Gap is slightly larger than it was previously, now 0.8 of a second at the beginning of the DRS straight. DRS really not all that powerful, apparently. Or perhaps Frazier running an extremely low downforce setup. And thank you from the chat. Dizo has yellow front wing damage. Dizo likely going to have to come into the pits here sooner rather than later. Through all the confusion, Boof and Knacktrack had passed Luke, and I believe that was the Sector 3 yellow flag that had happened previously while we were following along with the leaders. And so now we have Mercedes double podium position here. Essentially, Knacktrack following along behind, and Luke has lost a boatload of time. I try to keep it tidy here in the offset cockpit cam. Follow along with the Aston Martin teammate battle here for a second as Charlie Chibbles and Elliott are on the same strategy and really close to each other. Chibbles keen to get around Elliott, and that, oh dear, what is heading on again? Not sure what happened there exactly. As the gap closed quite a lot on this lap in the front of the grid, and I'm sorry to keep putting back to him, but it is for the Drivers' Championship. Ren gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Things going from bad to worse for the 13th place runner. As we follow along with the championship, like you can see this accordion just a little bit as Husam and Emil are rather trading positions down at the bottom of Husam, oh dear, that is a very ugly collision between Husam and Dog, as Dog has no front wing, and Husam spent quite a lot of time in the gravel pit, probably also has damage. A little hard for me to see from this angle. Husam will be very fortunate to not have any damage there. Dog, unfortunately, limping that car back to the pit lane. Misery loves company, and I hate to say it, Ren, but you've got company with your misery here. For these three guys out of the points bank positions, we're going to follow back along. It's very easy to figure out where the overtaking opportunity is because there essentially is one on this circuit, and that is Tamburello. Silver Arrow closing the gap to within 0.3 of a second, not quite able to make the gap up all the way, and have lunged down the inside, unfortunately. Meanwhile, for a little on the corner, Cruzo feeling a little risky. Trying to have a go at Elliott here, making up some time, but the no tire difference here, not quite enough. Charlie Chibbles has gone past Elliott now, I think in the confusion from earlier. And is now hunting down Knacktrack. So the front two on medium tires, the next 6 runners, all on the hard tires, so it seems the hard runners having a good time here. Rain potentially incoming. I did not see the weather. I believe there was some discussion about it when they were resetting the lobby in the Discord chat. I did not see it, so if it happens, it will be a surprise to me as well as to all of you watching. We have another yellow flag in Sector 2 as Husam is around again. Oh, goodness. And nope. We will not advertise Crypto.com on this race, and also they're broke in real life, so that's pretty acceptable. Don't sue me. I'm only stating the fact. Anyway, Charlie Chibbles now sniffing Knacktrack a little bit here, and he closed the gap. not quite. And this is more or less what we expected coming into Imola. This is a very challenging circuit to overtake on, and it has proven that the overtakes in this race have principally come from mistakes from runners down the order. Boof is the principal beneficiary of mistakes from Luke and I think. As Frazier has left the session, oh dear. Frazier having a little bit of a crashy game, and we're actually going to go. Oh, Silver Arrow's taking the lead! Silver Arrow's taking the lead because Frazier's AI is driving. And in this confusion, Silver Arrow might be able to build up a gap and get out of DRS range. Stay tuned, boys and girls. Stay tuned. Oh, it's getting really, really interesting as they come out of Ravazza, and this is terrible timing for Frazier. It could have been at any other point during the lap, and he might have been able to make it up. But Frazier now 1.6 seconds behind, or excuse me, 1.3 seconds behind. As Frazier has now rejoined the session, but Frazier now has a whole lot of work to do to retake the lead in this race. Not in DRS range. It's push time now for Silver Arrow. Take advantage of technology problems by the other guy if you can. And so we'll stay tuned on that, but that gap has increased by quite a lot since that was yellow flag in sector 3. That is Husam facing the wrong direction again. Coming out of Variante Alta. Oh dear. Husam not having a good afternoon. Welcome back. By the way, Husam, it's been a while since I've seen you. We are seeing some raindrops, by the way. You are not imagining that, chat. We are seeing some raindrops. Imola, pretty known to be a wet... oh yeah, it's raining. DRS has now been disabled. It's Inters time, boys and girls. This is going to be fun. Back to the front of the field. The Silver Arrow pits. Frazier pits behind. And Dog and Husam are going to have to come out quickly in order to not be lapped, as we have I believe that's Aaron on old mediums here at the very, very end of the pack, as Diesel gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Boof, by the way, has not come in. Boof is the race leader right now and is going to have a really, really unpleasant time driving on used hards on a quickly slicking surface. And unfortunately for Silver Arrow, it looks like some of that advantage from the disconnect has come away, and Silver Arrow quickly gets around Cruzo, who's still out on hards, by the way. It looks like things go poorly for Booth. Silver Arrow, and then you see Cruzo in the back of the frame getting out of Frazier's way. Good team behavior there. Booth could actually not only lose the first place, but lose quite a few positions here. I'm going to follow along with the race leader. Nactrack is going on to wet tires. Interesting. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if Nactrack got jeffed or what exactly. We're actually going to follow along board with Nactrack, because it looks like Nac is losing a heap of time to Charlie Tibbles behind, who's on the, what I believe is the correct tire, as Cruzo is around, I think. Yep. Oh man, that is really not great for Nactrack. If it is going to rain harder, that was much too early to pit for wet tires, and if it was a mistake, that is a very costly mistake. There's going to be a slow in-lap and a mandatory pit again. Boof has come on for wets as well. Is it expected to rain quite a lot harder here shortly? Let's find out. Boof has a ton of time behind. Luke is going to come through, but that's going to be it, really. Boof has a ton of time to Cruzo behind, who is just now pit. So this gamble might work if it does start raining harder. Meanwhile, the gap between, this was a little butt wiggle from Luke there, as we see Frazier and Silver Arrow within 1 second of each other now. Again, no DRS though. Cruzo has finally waypoint flag come in has been for intermediate tires. So what we need to do now is watch the gap between Booth and Luke, because that will tell us when the track starts coming to the wet runners. Three runners now, with Dog coming in for wet tires, the last wet tire runner come in. Start watching that gap. As soon as that gap starts to reduce consistently, it might be time to come in again, as that is Diesel around. Oh dear. Overtaking Diesel in a mistake through Aqua Minerale, and Aqua Minerale in the wet is properly treacherous, by the way. We'll switch back to the front of the grid as they get out of second one. Chibbles is now losing time to Booth, says the chat. Yeah, Chibbles may be losing time to Booth. Booth is not necessarily gaining time. Actually, he is losing a little bit of time to Luke. So I think it's the gap forward rather than the gap backward that we need to be curious about here. Although check Backtrack's gap as well. Space on the onboard, it certainly seems a little bit on the heavy side as inters go. But no standing water by the look of it here so far. Frazier still running through the exit of Ravazza in 5th gear in the wet. That is traction very much a concern for these drivers here in these tricky conditions. And I did the math earlier for you, gang, and I didn't quite get enough time to mention it because we hit the qualifying. I believe that's Husam that's getting a lap now. Silver Arrow finds himself in a must-win situation, and Frazier has to finish 8th or lower in order for this championship to go to the final round in Brazil. So as it stands, Frazier does not need to overtake Silver Arrow. He can simply sit back and take second place, not worry about it, take home the Drivers' Championship for a second time in BC Division 1, and have some celebratory champagne after. Will that happen, though? Let's find out. That is perhaps what I would do in this situation, because I am the enemy of fun, sometimes. But I hope, for the sake of our viewing public, that's not what Frazier does, and Frazier tries to take the win. The Season 5 champion and the Season 2 champion duking it out here in the front. Luke losing considerable time now to Luke ahead, and I don't think that's just on pace, I think that's on tires as well, 6.4 seconds. So I believe the wet runners have made a mistake on strategy here. Husam is pitting, I believe that's probably for damage. Husam is retired from the session. He said, I've had enough. Not quite a coming out of retirement party that he anticipated, Husam. We get the helicopter cam for a change here. This is fun. We're flying. And we're somewhat literally flying as we come down the hill through Aqua Minerale. Ride heights on these cars very raised up for the wet weather and for the tricky suspension geometry that this second sector of this circuit imposes on cars. Much higher front ride heights typically than you'll see normally, because you don't want to bottom out the car through Aqua Minerale. It's very easy to spin. Hope I can see finish before Div 4. Well, Renovatio, I have good news for you. Div 4 is going to wait for me to get out, so it might be a second. I was hoping that I would be part of a tandem team with Space Ghost here this week. No Dan Gilligan today, obviously. Dan Gilligan is doing Williams esports work at the Petit Le Mans, and good for him. Get paid, do work. And So unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your opinion, things you're stuck with me. And the gaps, as we're going to go down actually a little bit down the field, MML Ruprath is actually trying to have a go at Nagtrack here. Nagtrack on the wet tires, and MML just needs to be patient. Be patient, young man. Do not run him off the track. Okay, that's a little bit questionable. Okay. You have the better tire. You're going to make the overtake sooner or later. You don't need to force the issue too much. But you can see the speed difference between the wet and the intermediate tires in current conditions with the traction coming out of Radlas. Nagtrack's having a go again! Nagtrack is now completely in front, and I think Nak is a little offended at how that went down. That was not really picking your spot all that well, I think. You have much better traction than a wet tire runner coming out of some of these low and medium speed corners. You don't need to try to force the issue at the front of the straight. Nagtrack defending like his life depends on it here, really showing the youngster how it's done. And ooh, a little contact there, a little bump. Nagtrack keeping it steady. So into the lead up to Aquaman Rally. It is very squirrely in that spot. Ooh! Nice save. Patience. Patience the name of the game here. And Frazier has closed up quite a lot on Silver Arrow. I'm not sure if there was a mistake or just a scruffy lap. But these two much closer than they were previously. And chat, please stay tuned at the MML versus Nagtrack gap. We have a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. I believe that's a Rend. Boof and Charlie Chibbles now trading positions. What's going on here? Boof, another one of those wet tire runners really struggling to maintain position over Charlie Chibbles. Chibbles getting a little bit out of sorts at the exit of Tamburello, actually, by the look of it. Better traction, not necessarily better straight line speed. It does take quite a long time in wet conditions in the 22 cars to get on the power, quite frankly. So it's not like even if you have the intermediate tire on, you can just slam on the gas and get through it, right? Riprap, by the way, has dropped back. They placed a yellow flag in sector 1, and that is Dieso. In the gravel pit at Tamburello. Facing the wrong direction. I was going to say saying hi to the Ayrton Senna statue, but he's actually on the opposite side of the chicane, so he's not doing anything of the sort. As Frazier is pit, Frazier has come in for wet tires. Now this is going to be really, really interesting. We're expecting perhaps more rain. And I think we're going to get it as Boof is going to come out right in the firing line of Frazier. It was now at P5 with Charlie Chibbles, who is still in Inters, and Boof, who is already on the wet tires, already ahead. Stay tuned. I believe Silver Arrow and Luke are going to pit on this lap as well. We're gonna follow along with our race leader. It certainly looks wetter. This level frame has sustained itself. Yeah, a little lock up there. I think it's getting challenging to steer in some of these chicanes for the intermediate runners. More locking up downhill for these corners. Let's see what the gap is. About 27 seconds to Frazier right now. Silver Arrow is staying out. Silver Arrow staying out, so clearly thinks the intermediate tires are the right way, are the right tire for the moment. This will likely decide the race. I don't necessarily blame Silver Arrow, who has nothing to lose right now, who needs to finish quite a few positions above Frazier to keep his championship hopes alive. To say, I'm going to do the oddball strategy here. I'm going to see this rear sliding around as it comes out of the second chicane with Silver Arrow. Just try something different. And you have your teammate, and actually we are going to follow along with that as Boom is doing a tremendous job keeping Silver Arrow boxed in, or Frazier boxed in, by the way. Frazier essentially glued to the gearbox of Booth, cannot get around him. Imola is an old school circuit. There really aren't multiple lines through quite a few of these corners. So essentially it's one way to take most of these corners, and if you are ahead, as we have a yellow flag, as Sam has now left the session entirely, but that was Elliott, I believe, who spun around. That was overtaken by Track. MML Riprath has also come in for wet tires. I think we're going to start seeing the rest of the field come in, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point from my current teammate Renovation in the chat. Silver Arrow and Luke could be waiting for a safety car, and they are under no obligation to pit at all, actually, in this race. Charlie Tibbles is retired from the session, and they might just get it. Following along with the helicopter cam, we're going to see where Tibbles has run off into the wall there after Aqua Minerale. No safety car, though. No safety car, and we are green again. As Cruzo gets a time penalty for track limits violations, Diesel has come in for wet tires. So the remaining intermediate tires, the top two, Silver Arrow and Luke, Elliott, Cruzo, and Ren. Technically Charlie Chibbles as well. Chibbles will drop down the field here in short. And Frazier has overtaken Booth, by the way, while we were watching the calamity that was Charlie Chibbles' exit from this race. Frazier now back in the podium positions again. Nothing really that Booth can do about that. Frazier doing what he is known well for, finished in the podium positions in every race this season other than Hungary. A rare off day of form to finish the P8. Thank you again for the chat for the weather report. We had 2 blocks of light rain, 1 block of heavy rain, and then the rain would stop. So it is possible the rain will start to lessen here. That gap is still quite considerable. 20 seconds now back to Frazier. Frazier now gaining a full second a lap on the intermediate runners ahead. That gap is going to get a lot smaller very quickly, as I believe that's the Alpha Tauri and Diesel getting out of the way of the lead runners there. No real significant battles for track position going on. Everybody fairly spread out here. Okay, so the penalties chart. 3 seconds for Aren, who finds himself, by the way, after the weather shenanigans, in 6th place, after being nearly 30 seconds back at the grid. 6 seconds for Cruzo and 3 seconds for Diesel. Although Diesel being 18 seconds ahead of Dog right now, I don't think that'll matter all that much. Actually, we're gonna put tires back on here for a second. Frazier has now caught up to Luke. Mind you, Frazier has another 15 seconds to go to catch up to Silver Arrow. But I think staying out on the inters may not have been the right call. This gap between Silver Arrow and Frazier was 27 seconds when Frazier came in, is now 15. Frazier practically pushing Luke along the track here, getting a much better exit. And I thought we might see Luke come into the pits there. No dice. Staying out as long as they can, and why not? You've got 22 seconds back to 5th place. Luke going very deep in Tamburello there. As Boof actually has a look up there and now gets past again. So we have 2 Mercedes and Frazier on the podium for what looks like a second time in a row here. And you can see how much better traction you're getting. Boof already 1.8 seconds ahead of Luke, just having made the overtake this lap alone. Silver Arrow only 10 seconds and change ahead of Frazier now, desperately trying to hang on. as Frazier gets a 3-second time penalty. Track limits violation. Not that it will matter all that much in the grand scheme of things right now. I agree, Frazier is going to catch Silver Arrow in this rain. Unless the rain dramatically lightens in the next handful of laps, Frazier is going to catch him. Silver Arrow needs a miracle here. He needs the win, and he needs Frazier to crash, essentially, in this race, in order to keep his championship hopes alive for the final round of the zone. Six and a half seconds now the gap. Coming down mightily. It does look like it's starting to lighten up a little bit. I think it might be too little, too late for the folks who tried to stay out on inters, because it was properly slippery out there for some time. Not to mention the inters are considerably older tires too. As Cruzo gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which, by the way, is Cruzo coming in for inters? Yes he is. He's crewing in for intermediate tires. So the track may start coming back to Silver Arrow just a little bit here. Stay tuned. This could get all jumbled up all over again. Arend and MMO Roofraft trading positions. Drivers, very competitive in their own right, not always known for giving the most quarter, perhaps. The intermediate runner, Aaron, coming off the better here. This is really the only proper on-track battle. As MMO Rupert, he gets a 3-second time penalty, in addition to getting overtaken, so not great. Has caught up to Cruzo, by the way, so we're going to see how the new inters start working here. As Elliott now comes into the pits, presumably for intermediate tires. Gap now 2.0. Izo going a lot deep. I think the rain is starting to lighten up, okay? Elliott has now come in for intermediates. I think the play, if you are Poof and you're trying to play the team game as Mercedes, Dizo is now coming in as well. Dizo not trying to get after Cruzo, losing a bunch of time and then saying, I'm coming into the pits now. At 3 seconds of time penalty. Frazier might be very interesting if Frazier has to try and overtake Poof and potentially Luke staying out on intermediate tires. The gap actually starting to increase now. It was below 3 seconds, now just about 3.2. The race lead tantalizingly close in front of Frazier here. Not quite able to close the gap right now. The last 6 laps will now tell us. Was staying out on inters the big brain strategy all along? I think if you're Frazier, you have to try and stay out as long as you can and hope for a mistake. Although in terms of the actual championship, Frazier could stay out no matter how slow he is and still win, I think, in current standings. Not satisfying gear if you're a Silver Arrow fan. But that's the way the math works, unfortunately. looks like the intermediates are now the faster tire, as that gap between Frazier and Silverado is starting to creep up ever so slightly. Seconds. Yeah. Apparently the age of the tire is not significantly impactful in terms of the intermediates versus wets. It's really more about the track surface. Grid very much spread out here. No real on-track battles happening, and this tends to be the case in some of these hard to overtake circuits. Everybody kind of just running their own race. Silverado now pushing the envelope here. Trying to catch up as Cruzo gets another 3-second time limit. How many penalties is that? 14 seconds. Oh man. Cruzo, you got to keep it on the black stuff. And also not speed in the pit lane. You know, 5 seconds of that was speeding in the pit lane, so that's 3 track limits warnings. 3 track limits violation penalties. As Elliott gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags, so the penalty is coming in hot and fast here. Do have to get out of the way. I'm not sure if that was the game deciding to be a little bit cheeky or not. That's it's one of the, he's the Red Bull behind. He's just saying, no, I'm faster. I'm not getting out of the way. Bit of a questionable penalty. That might get removed in the stewards' group. And Elliott going on the wide through the exit hammer though. So I guess that's a decided issue. Track has now come in. I believe Track is bidding for intermediates. Especially in a track like this where you've only got one really long straight. That trundle down the pit lane feels agonizingly slow, and no, Track has come in for soft tires. This is spicy, and why not? You've got a huge gap to the car behind you and really nothing to lose. It's definitely still raining. It's definitely still raining. I'm not sure where to follow along with Track here, actually, because this is wild. Luke getting a 3-second time penalty now for track limits. What is happening? Watch the gap between Track and MML Riprap, by the way. MML still on wet tires. And Knack is on soft, so I think Knack got Jeff, folks. I don't think they wanted to put this tire on, and yet here we are. Wow, closing this gap with urgency is MML Riprap. We're gonna see these two come together again. Cruzo getting a 5-second penalty now for ignoring blue flags. It's 19 seconds of penalties for Cruzo. I'm doing the mental math right. Goodness. You do not want to try and overtake someone through Aquaman Rally, but he's going to try and do it anyway. Getting a little squirrely. SML Riprap making the overtake stick, and I think Track put the wrong tire on by mistake. That's not great. And you can see how much less traction Knack has than even ML Riprap is perhaps not on the right tire for the conditions. Ooh, yeah, just lots of understeer. And Cruzo gets another penalty for track limits. Goodness, man, are you trying to get disqualified on penalties? And I just want to give ML Riprap credit. That was a tremendous overtake. And I agree with the chat, Tez. That was a tremendous overtake and a good bit of patience. That's very easy if you're a much faster car to crash into the back of the person in front of you, going through Aquaman Rally and into Variante Alpha there. Good bit of patience. Already 5 seconds the gap between those two now. We're gonna tune in actually a little bit farther up the order as Booth is making some inroads on Luke. And we're getting some lapped car shenanigans here. Guys, if you're lap down, you do have to get out of the way. I think that's Cruzo in between the two of them, so we'll stay tuned on that. As Dog has come into the pits. waving the flag of surrender on those 17-lap-old wet tires. Coming in for intermediates. Nope, coming in for also for soft tires. I don't think that's right, guys. I don't think that's right. Backtrack losing bunches of time. Rather, we just saw that overtake by Dog's own teammate. This is very questionable. I mean, a dry line is starting to form, but this is highly questionable. How many penalties on Luke? Let's find out. Luke has also 3 seconds of penalties, so all Booth needs to do is stay within 3 seconds of Luke to overtake and get third place. Meanwhile, Cruzo has 27 seconds of penalties, so I believe if Cruzo gets any more penalties, he will be disqualified. Which should be wonderful news for Dog, who is a long way down the order. As Booth has now come in for soft tires as well. Is this actually drying? Ooh, a little bit questionable on the warm-up. I'm not sure it's soft tire territory yet. I think people might be reacting to the other drivers rather than the track conditions. If you are Frazier and Silver Arrow, I think caution should be advised here for the top 2 runners. We're going to now watch Booth as Booth comes out onto the track with new soft tires. As Cruzo has overtaken Nactrack, and this has gone from unpleasant to very unpleasant for Nactrack. Now Elliott also overtaking Nactrack. Goodness, just. No, that's the wrong call. That is the wrong tire with 2 laps to go. And Stog gets a 3-second time penalty, which is highly unconcerning. Frazier and ML Riprath, the lone runner, still on a wet tire, and I believe intermediate's probably the safest option right now toward the end of the race here. And Silver Arrow has massively increased that gap. I do wonder if Booth decided to come in for new soft tires, thinking they weren't going to get P4 anyway. How can Div 1 make so many tire mistakes? I'll say what I said before. I believe they were reacting to the other drivers on the timing board rather than the actual conditions, because, I mean, we're just going to follow along with Nactrack's onboard here for a second. This is pretty wet. This is not a dry surface, and you're going to feel that with some oversteer, and it might come to you very, very late. But even, and we're going to switch up to Booth here, who's got a little fresher tires, still getting, I mean, really just now, going into the final lap of the race, just now starting to dry out. And Booth is not making any significant inroads on Frazier here. And actually, and I'm sorry, I missed a very important piece here. Luke has overtaken Frazier. The wet's really starting to, excuse me, the wet's really starting to go off here, as Luke now almost 3 seconds ahead of Frazier. So I think that if Booth had gone on to intermediates, that this would be a very interesting situation, as we have a yellow flag in sector 3, pretty much right where we are. Not sure what happened there exactly. I think that was Cruzo getting out of the way of Frazier's. DRS has now been enabled, but it won't matter as, oh goodness. Cruzo, I believe that was Frazier spinning at the finish line, and so Silver Arrow wins the virtual Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, but Frazier, by virtue of coming in 3rd place, unless there are drop races that I don't know about, I believe is PC Division 1 champion. So congratulations to both of you. Well driven from Silver Arrow, who had the pace to stay out on intermediates long past the expiration date of those tires, really, as Booth runs over a whole bunch of debris here. Yeah, Silver Arrow, 3 wins on the trot, I believe. So a very, very promising end of the season for the Season 2 champion in Division 1. But Frazier has now become the second, or rather for the second time, the PC Division 1 champion. I believe it's the first person to do so, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations very much in order to Frazier. This was a very entertaining race with lots of challenging overtakes and questionable tire strategy all around. Track drying up at the very end really made that fun. Cruzo's driver of the day. I'm pretty sure everyone is driver of the day by virtue of having survived, because that was a mess. But for me, I have to give it to Silver Arrow. Overtook Luke and Frazier at the beginning, controlled the race from the start, and I might be biased because I am on Team Mercedes. Thank you, Tez. I'm doing what I can here, trying to run the thing by myself. Whew. And now I'm going to turn right around and race a bunch of people in Div 4. And there you have it. I do lament a teensy bit that we did not get any Dan Gilligan, because Dan is the man. But a well-deserved win for Silver Arrow and Luke, and a well-deserved championship for Frazier, and also the fastest lap to boot, 118.5. And so that's it from me. This has been Ivory again. FRS Division 1 here on FRS Motorsports. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'm not sure how much more commentary I'm going to be doing this season, but chat, you have been tremendous. The race was very, very interesting from start to finish, and I will see you all when I see you next. Take care. From me here in the States to wherever you guys are this morning, afternoon, or evening, good night.